Well, what is up, y'all? Today we are going to be diving into a color match video that I have been wanting to make for a while. We haven't talked a ton about color match recently, and so I just wanted to walk you through my personal workflow on an image that has more than 4 colors. It's really easy to color match with an image with fewer than 4 colors, but I wanted to just show you my brain and how I process a color match image like this. Now, this image is already up on MakerWorld. You can download it and print it out if you want to. It's incredible, and I really do like this image. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the color match. I'm going to go ahead and move my base thickness down to like 0.4 maybe. I already know that I'm not going to need a crazy thick base because I want this kind of beige color to be near the top, if not on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Then I'm going to start building my mesh. Now this one's tough because green is just a naturally difficult color. Green is going to give you lots of problems all the time, and so you might have to play around with this a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and put my darker colors there on the bottom, and you can already see we have quite a decent looking image developing over here on the left. And then I'm going to grab this magenta and just place it right on top of there. Now we have to deal with our greens. We have a couple different options. We can build this up. We can put dark green here, and we can put light green on top of it. But here's what I notice whenever we start playing around with greens like this, and it's that we get this outline speckling. Now, it's always going to be worse inside of HueForge than it will be anywhere else. HueForge is going to be the place where you're going to see that kind of speckling the most. We can always turn on fast spike removal, and I typically do that anyways, but it didn't really resolve that issue. So we have a couple different options. I'm going to delete my white on the top there, and I'm going to move my green to the very top, and we're going to try to see if that will help resolve some of the issues that we're seeing. And it did a little bit, but we're still seeing some of that pink show through. So the other option would be to move this to the top or near the top and to put green down near the bottom. We can always try this as well. Now, this is usually where things go wrong, typically because green likes to do the same thing and poke through here. So what can I blend? Well, I think I can blend the green on top easier than I can the magentas. And so I'm going to move these down again. I'm going to put the green up here. And I'm just trying to replicate my main image as accurately as possible. And I think this is going to give me the best looking option. The magenta shining through is not nearly as much of a pain, at least for me, as that green kind of shining through. And I'm just going to play around with these sliders ever so slightly. Maybe move the black down. There we go. Okay, so that's probably my color core or my mesh core that I would play around with here inside of HueForge. But now we actually need to develop out the color core, and this is going to be where the actual blending happens. And I know some of y'all have gotten frustrated in the past because on a lot of these videos, I have stopped with the mesh core and then not shown you how I do the color core. And a lot of times I do that mainly because you guys don't have the same filaments as me, and so my color core is going to look different than your color core. But hopefully just showing you the thought process behind how I build my color core will be helpful. So I always just do a 1-to-1 match. So I'm going to grab plum. Then this is probably going to be a pink. And then I'm going to grab my magenta. And I'm just going to build that color core there the way that I would 1-for-1. Now, I might even move the magenta down and the pink up. I think I'm going to do that. Dark to light, that's generally a good layout. Now here comes our green. I think I'm going to try and grab Mistletoe Green because it has such a low transmission distance that I'm going to be able to cover up the bright pink pretty easily. I'm going to grab Apple Green and I'm going to toss it right there. Now, the biggest issue that we have here is that the background is not super beige or super white, and we have a couple different options here. The first one would be to grab a lower TD white or a lower TD top filament. So I could grab like ivory white and put it up there and then move this slider up ever so slightly, and we get like a pretty decent response there. It's not terrible. Let's try and put like a beige up there, or maybe like a desert tan. Let's see what it pulls up. It says desert tan, and that desert tan isn't bad, but it's a little too tan. So we could play around with this a little bit to see if we can remedy that ever so slightly. We can grab maybe like a jade white and put it under the desert tan and see if we can get that to be a little bit brighter. Take the desert tan out for now. maybe something like that. It still has a hue of green to it, which is a little bit different than this color, but I don't hate it. The other option would be we could maybe bring up our apple green a little bit, or even toss a beige in there. Beige is a fun color. It's one of my favorite Bamboo Lab colors. And do something like that. If we were really going for 1-to-1, maybe something like that is close, like that's really close. But the way that this saturated green is playing with the beige on our main color core isn't my favorite. I get more of the green when it's white. So I think I'm going to make the back of this HueForge, at least this time, I'm going to keep it white because I get more of the green here on this lighter green area than I would if I had maybe a beige background. And we can always come here and look for different greens. You know, we could play around with the Bamboo Lab basic green, but that's way too flat when it comes to green. Obviously, we could choose to ditch, you know, HueForge filaments or Bamboo Lab filaments altogether, and we could maybe grab like this CoEx 3D green, and that's very close. I love how kind of neon that gamer green is, that CoEx 3D. It's gorgeous. Polyterra lime green is probably going to give us, it's a little bright. That's not terrible, but that's a little bright for me at least. That's not shabby. I really like this CoEx 3D lime green. I think we'll keep that there. That looks really good. That looks really solid. I enjoy this HueForge quite a bit. I've been enjoying doing some more Japanese-inspired, floral-inspired HueForges. You'll probably start to see them pop up more on my Maker World profile. But this is how I would approach this color match from start to finish. And you can tell it took about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes for us to really work through step by step, understand what's going on, and for us to get something that's very printable and ready to toss on our printer. Now, this image was pre-processed. I used my HueForge Pro Tools suite of tools to pre-process this image, which made my time inside of HueForge so much easier. If you want to learn more about my 8-tool suite on how to prep images like this, check out the links down below. I have a Patreon where I offer all of my tools included in your subscription, as well as a full 10-module course about how to use HueForge, how to learn HueForge, also how to make money with HueForge, how to leverage AI in your business. It is growing like crazy. So if you want to know more or learn more about that, check out the link in the description below. I'll make sure it's right there for you guys to take a peek. Y'all, huge shout out to all my YouTube members. Huge shout out to all my Patreon members. You guys are legitimately the reason why I get to do what I absolutely love to do. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, y'all, take care.